All right. Theme song in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there, episode 237. I know that because I looked it up before. And I know only that because I started writing down in my notes where the links are on my Notion app that it is, in fact, 237. Let me give you a little rundown of my notes. Can you see them? Let's see if I can do this. Hide the webcam. You can see the notes. All right, if you're watching the video, you can definitely see the notes and you can get a preview of what's coming up. You can also see what's coming up on the next episode. Anyway, you can see the recurring segments I have down there. Anyway, I have, if you can't see it, I'll paint a picture for you. I have a Notion stuff. On the side of my Notion, you can see all the lists I have, how much I pay for subscriptions, which I will not click on because it is an embarrassing number, video games, the notes I have for Warner Media, and then also the Constitutionals. So here's the Constitutionals, and then you have a current episode, and I usually have the title. New thing is the episode number, and then I have basically a rundown of what I want to talk about, and it's all linked up. And then there's yeah, so that's what it is. So yeah, you could see it. So if you saw the video, you saw exactly what I do for this show, which is possibly too much for as little return as it gets, and possibly not enough for as much return as I want it to have, which is about 5% more. Here we are, coming on the heels of this week we've had. So let's get to it. Oh, let's see what happened last week. I was going to record an episode last week about the upfronts, but I said let's push it to next week, and then which is this week, and then I all the stories I wanted to do, I just thought, you know what, why do all that stuff? It's too much. So here we are. What happened last week? What happened this past 2 weeks? I got 4 new games for the Nintendo Switch: Paper Mario Color Splash, Donkey Kong Country Freeze, Mario Golf, and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Switch. 3 of those, everything but Donkey Kong. This guy was just like, I guess he's selling a bunch of stuff on Nextdoor. And one of the things that he was selling was I don't know why this link is not opening up. One of the lots he was selling was a bunch of Switch games, and I already own 2 of them. And I said, I wonder if this guy will sell me 3 Switch games for the price of $20 each, and I lowballed him. Under that $20 each. I gave him I gave him 60. I said, hey, how about 60? He's like 90, and I go, no, I'm not paying full price for these games. We settled on 75. I met him, finally loaded. I met him up, and he gave me the games. And that same day, Target happened to be doing a sale on video games, as well as so it was 30% off of video games, as well as just 30% off video games, and then you get the 5% off with your Target card. And then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze happened to be on sale past the 30%, and so I got this, this usually $50-$60 game for $30. I was so excited, and I have not had time to play any of these things because I work during the day, and then at night I'm so tired from the gym because I've been up since 4 o'clock, so I don't. Dallas is out of the NBA not finals. Dallas is out. They were beat by the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors will go on to face whoever wins out of Miami and Boston. And my money's probably on Boston because I don't think Miami has. Jesus, I keep hitting the microphone. It's like I don't know what to do with this show because Miami does not have any hitters, as the rappers say. You know me. Let's see. And Nova's doing all right. She's somewhere. Oh, Jesus. The camera just shut off on me. Oh, my God. All right. Well, this is ridiculous. I'm going to have to take a quick break, and then we'll come back to whatever the hell this is. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Okay. Thank goodness I didn't cut off me in the front of a story, in the middle of a story. All right. Let's get into this before another battery dies on me. In fact, I'm going to start charging this other one while we have the time. All right, plugging it in. Got to keep the witty banter off. And also, it's hot in here. I have to turn off the air when I do this show. So in honor of Top Gun Maverick coming out this weekend, a movie I will see at some point next week, I hope. I will be seeing the Bob's Burgers movie this weekend with a friend on a Sunday. While everybody's out having fun at the lake, I will be going to see the Bob's Burgers movie. I just took a sip of hot tea. You like the taste of beer, but like tea, and you don't want the alcohol? Hop tea. You like the taste of beer, you don't want the alcohol, and but you want also tea. Hop tea. Not a sponsor. This comes from ESPN, written by Ryan Hawkinsmith. Tom Cruise runs, but is he any good at it? And according to this feature, that is way too long, yeah, he's good at running. It's very true. So if you've ever seen Tom Cruise run, and I believe in this piece, Ryan counts how many. So Tom Cruise has done 52 movies, and he's run in 44 of them. I'm pretty sure. I've never seen Cocktail, but I'm sure there's no running in Cocktail. All right, that's a good title. There's no running in Cocktail. And it's true. Tom runs in these movies like a lot, and if you've ever seen a Tom Cruise movie, action movie where he's running. Collateral. Is that what it is? Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 5. Just keep going. Just skip 2, it'll be 3 and keep going. And 4. If you ever seen him run, he runs basically straight up, chest out, just like this straight. If you're watching the video, I put my arm. If you're not watching the video, I put my arm straight up. And his hands are pointed. They're not cupped, not fisted, and they're pointed. And it turns out that's the way you can run and run faster. If you look at Ryan gives a whole spiel about where Tom came from and what he did. He was a wrestler in high school, and then when he couldn't wrestle in high school anymore, he decided to travel with the team on one of their away matches, and he was just a nice guy having fun. And that's what Tom Cruise is. But the point is the running. So it turns out when you run, and if you cup your hands, if you grasp them, you run the risk of wasting energy. And it's true. You know, Usain Bolt. I was running this morning to Jess Sims on Peloton, and she did. They've been doing some like celebrity stuff with Peloton recently, and they did a series on YouTube and I guess on the Peloton app as well, where they teamed up with I forget who other celebrities were, but one of them was Usain Bolt, and they were running on a treadmill. She and Usain, or maybe I don't know who else, whoever it was, but they were running on a treadmill, and apparently this is as told by her. He didn't know that you can run so much faster if you don't squeeze your hands, if you have a light grip like you're holding ice cream cones, as they say, and he did not know that, which is crazy. So imagine how much better he could have been, like even like just marginally. Imagine how much better he could have been if he wasn't always clasping his hands like that. And so that's why Tom runs like that. You can see it. He's gotten way better, and if you look at his early movies to now, compared to now. This is Smith Gilbert. This comes from Smith Gilbert. Clenching up hands can be the first sign that a runner is pressing, which affects the rhythm of their breath, which drains their speed and endurance. You can be open hand or closed hand as long as the shoulders are rather relaxed. The goal is good form and being as relaxed as possible. Tom Cruise knows what he's doing. Isn't that's amazing? That's why you always got to listen to, like, don't grip hard, don't grip hard. I remember when I was running track, that was a big thing. Don't grip hard. How fast is he really going? There's somebody somebody on Quora in this piece is quoted as saying that Tom Cruise estimated hits about 15.3 miles per hour. I wonder if he can. Jay Ellis was on Jimmy Kimmel Live this past week to talk about the movie coming out, Top Gun Maverick, which he is in. And funnily enough, he's been on that show 3 separate times to talk about that movie, I think. And each time it's been, you know, this is the third time, but obviously the first 2 times were because of the pandemic, and we thought it was going to come out, but it didn't. Anyway, and then Tom Cruise told Jay and the crew about, like, they had to do naval tests and swim tests and all this stuff, and it was hard for everybody to hold their breaths. And Tom was, he obviously held his breath for like 8 minutes during one of the Mission Impossibles. I think it was either 3 or 5, one of those. It might have been, yeah, 3 or 5. And he just he had to hold his breath and for 8 minutes long, and they were like, what? Of course he had to do that. Anyway, pure speed. So I would definitely guesstimate that he could. Even Cruise himself said he can run at 17 miles per hour. I mean, yeah, it's great. This is a great piece to see to read, to understand, like, what it's like for, like, an actor, and maybe Tom. People complain about Jeremy Strong being a method actor, or like other people being method actors, but I mean, Tom's doing it, and it's kind of cool to see how far you can push the human condition when you're especially pushing 60. I know he's in his early 50s. I just wanted to say 60. Anyway, good piece. Moving on. This next, I'm going to look at my notes. Netflix wants to hear from you. Oh, this is from a couple of weeks ago. So Netflix this comes from Variety, written by Todd Spangler. Netflix has been quietly screening movies, TV shows months in advance for subscriber feedback exclusive. So this is part of the reason why I always try to do surveys. I'm not joking. Hulu sent me a survey this past week. No, HBO Max sent me a survey this past week. Hulu sent me a survey a couple of weeks ago. I do surveys. They sometimes they promise gift cards, sometimes they promise, but they don't. I mean, and you don't get the gift card. You're entered into a drawing for the gift card. So sometimes they give that stuff, and other times it's just, hey, we just want your feedback. And so I always want to get in on these things in case there's a beta, in case that they let something slip. Like, hey, would you, like, Hulu's been looking into VR. Would you ever want to do a Hulu VR? And I'm just like, yeah, I would love to do Hulu VR. So I always make sure to do surveys because I'm bored and I'm lonely. I live with a cat. So this is interesting that these things are becoming commonplace, and more people are talking about it more. I mean, I don't want things ruined, because a lot of this is just testing. They're not gonna things are tested all the time. It's not like they're obviously gonna put it out. Like it was rumored this week that Apple showed its board, its AR/VR headset, whatever thing they wanted to do. That might not even be announced this year. It might not be. It might be saving for next year. It might not even ever come out. Now, charging power mat did. Here we go. Netflix has been getting member feedback on original content ahead of its public release. So that means, like, I watched 2 episodes of Pentaveret, and it is rough. That show was written, it feels like, in 2010. It's got jokes from 2016, and it was held for 3 years at least. That's what it feels like. There's a fine mystery behind it, but Jesus. It's a movie that nobody cut. It's a movie where the script was 160 pages long, and Netflix saw, oh, Mike Myers. They're like, oh, it's Mike Myers, and they're like, I mean, we're not gonna say nothing to Mike Myers. You want to turn it into a TV show instead of a movie? And he's like, all right, let's do a TV show. That's what it feels like. It looks fine. One of their sets is the fake moon landing, so that's why it's passable for looks fine. Anyway, so that's when you get Netflix could possibly doing they could put out there's a show like the Pentaveret, and you could and not put it out. They could offer a subscriber who took the survey a show like the Pentaveret and say, hey, you get to watch this 3 months ahead of release. Tell us what you think about it. Don't tell anybody about it. Maybe sign an NDA. Hopefully sign an NDA. And then tell us what you think about it and what should be done differently and things like that. Such focus group testing is commonplace in Hollywood and has been for years, and Netflix routinely tests new features with a subset of its customer base as part of its product development process. And so far, these subscriber feedback panels have been only taking place in the U.S. For the panels, Netflix asked members to watch several upcoming movies and series over the course of about 6 months. See, I was right. After they finish watching each movie or series, members fill out a survey, quote, to tell us what you liked, what you didn't, how you'd make it even better, or how likely you'd be to recommend it to friends or family. We know this is happening. I mean, if you didn't even think this is happening, then you're crazy and you're stupid. You're not paying attention. But for them, I wonder if they're taking the feedback in passing or if they're actually being active about it. Netflix has canceled a bunch of projects for the past couple of weeks because they need to meet the bottom line because they didn't meet the subscriber goal. So my question, I had to turn off the mic for a hot second. My question is this working for them? And are they actually doing something about it? And in the short run, I don't. If they just started this, I don't know if this is a lucrative option. If in the long run, I don't know if this is a lucrative option for them. In the short run, if they really do take this stuff in stride and people are commenting and actually, I would watch more of. And people are actually saying, I would watch more of. God, Boss Baby, Family Back in Business. That's the new Boss Baby show. I love Boss Baby. I gotta say it. The second movie kind of stinks. First movie's great. First TV show is great. Second show is the same as the first TV show. Continuation. The second movie, but I don't think that's fair. Let me just do a real Netflix original, like the movie Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. Are they, when they put out, and probably this subscribing thing, they probably didn't do it for this, but are they saying if someone says, hey, there's this continuous shot was great, but I wish there were more cars, are they going to actually say something about it? Are they going to actually do something about that? Or there should be more jokes in here. There should be more focus on his G-Shock watch. I like that movie. I watched it, people were talking about it, and then I watched it 3 years later. I'm not joking. I probably watched it maybe, I got my TV. I got this new TV. So I probably watched it around then. And that movie came out 2001. So I probably watched it 2021. So I probably watched it last fall or last winter or something like that. So not years later, but whatever. So there we go. That's Netflix for you. Coming up next, I'm teasing the next story. Wall Street Journal. Conan O'Brien's podcast company sells to SiriusXM in deal valued at around $150 million. Written by John Jurgensen and Ann Steele. Oh, the greats. So Conan sold Team Coco to SiriusXM, and it's a pretty big friggin' deal. Like Gimlet and The Ringer sold to Spotify, and Wondery sold to Audible, Amazon, I think. Wondery, so they can make Wondery Plus, which we'll get into in a second, I think. No, maybe not. Conan O'Brien sold Team Coco over to SiriusXM, and so this is even bigger than the podcast front, because Team Coco also owns his late night stuff, the previous late night stuff, Conan, Tonight Show, and Late Night, and everything that comes. I guess he sold the company, so everything that comes under it. And so along with his regular Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast that has become I will say probably one of the quickest growing podcasts in the world. They get Nicole Byers' podcast. They get, one of her podcasts. They get Lacey Mosley's podcast, JB Smooth's, Andy Richter's, I believe, and everybody else. I think there's like 10. Rob Lowe's. I subscribe to one of those, and I still don't listen. It's too much. It's too much. Too many podcasts in this world. Yeah, it's a network of 10 podcasts. $150 million, which is huge. Obviously, this money, he doesn't see $150 million. Just the number is there. It's like Justin Timberlake just sold off the rights to his catalog. So it's including not from NSYNC, but everything he's done from past NSYNC on to basically today. I wonder if that includes the Trolls song. I got this meaning inside my bones. You know, Trolls World Tour. Great movie. Great movie. The Trolls TV shows. Good TV shows. The first movie stinks. And I hate real songs, real world songs in cartoon movies. I hate that. Can you believe Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend launched in 2018? Oh my God. The show accounts for more than 2/3 of the 16 million monthly downloads for all of Team Coco podcasts. Wow. What is 2/3 of 16 million? That's about 1066666. Okay. I'm stupid. The vast majority of Team Coco was owned by Mr. O'Brien, along with Chief Executive Jeff Ross, who was his producer on the Conan TV show. Mr. O'Brien's executive producer throughout the run of his TV shows, according to the people familiar with the company. The Sirius deal lets Mr. O'Brien capitalize on the creative and entrepreneurial freedom he discovered in the audio world after a 28-year-old run on the late shift for broadcast and cable networks. Now, this does not mean that the shows like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and Andy Richter talks to people, and Rob Lowe is handsome, and Nicole Byer dates and JB Smoove asks a question a day or something like that. This doesn't mean that those shows are taken off of regular podcasting platforms and you can only listen to them on SiriusXM. No. The licensing rights are only given to Sirius. So that means that they will they could have bonus episodes if they want, only on Sirius. They could do, Sirius gets the money, essentially. Sirius gets the money, and it's going to help these people, it's going to help the hosts get better ad sales, Sirius acquired Stitcher in 2020 from Midroll, I believe. For a little bit, Sirius? Stitcher and Midroll and Earwolf, they were all owned by Discovery, Scripps, which owned a company I worked for. So I was, for maybe 2 years, I was a coworker of Conan O'Brien. I was a coworker of Conan O'Brien and all the other Earwolf folks. This is big news for these people. It doesn't really hurt you in the long run or short. What am I doing? Long run, short run stuff. This doesn't hurt you. This doesn't hurt you at all. But it is going to open up opportunities. And at some point, I think podcasting just used to be just an independent thing, and now we've got all these millionaires joining in, and it's just not fun. Sirius now owns a portfolio of social media channels that Team Coco has fed with content for over a decade. I wonder where this leaves the Team Coco YouTube channel. I wonder if that means that they're going to continue to operate by the Team Coco YouTube channel and the Letterman YouTube channel in particular, as well as the Johnny Carson YouTube channel. They all upload old clips from the previous shows. So for Letterman, we get every show he's ever done. We get the two. I don't think that we get the morning show, but we get his late night shows, which is cool, which is fun to see, and I really like that. Do they have the morning show on there? There's some of the clips from the morning show. And then for Team Coco, we get the Team Coco YouTube channel. We get things from Conan. We get things from Late Night. We get things from Tonight. I don't know about Tonight Show. Well, yeah, we get things from Tonight Show. The video clips distributed on these channels generated roughly $10 million in ad revenue in 2021. Team Coco executives said last year. I would like to, 10 million in 2021 is nothing to scoff at. However, it could be more if more people watch them. I look at the team code. I check my YouTube all the time, and quite frankly, you look at episodes, you look at clips I call clips episodes. I call it videos on the internet episode. You see that new episode of MKBHD? Gotta make yourself laugh. It's 4:39. I'm going to Phoebe Bridgers tonight. She's playing in Chastain Park Amphitheater in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll be driving a little bit north for that. Hitting the road at friggin' 6:30 on a holiday weekend. Oh, Jesus. Okay. And I can imagine, $10 million. Again, $10 million in ad revenue is great. I can imagine, though, that people who do YouTube for a living maybe made more. It's just hard to generate views, especially for old stuff. But for Letterman and for Team Coco, they're both really good at doing things that, like if someone passes away, like if Ray Liotta died yesterday, so if Ray Liotta passes away, then Letterman and Team Coco can both upload a clip of Ray Liotta. Or if Gilbert Gottfried or Norm Macdonald pass away, God forbid they do this for people of color, and they're very topical. Or if there's if a Paul Rudd project comes out and Paul Rudd was on one of those shows, then they can upload a Paul Rudd clip. It's very cool how they can have these things already ready to go, they've been. Conan has been his team has been making digital records of the late night and Tonight Show stuff for the past since like the last year of Conan. So it's good to see all this stuff get archived and everything. Company's YouTube channel has 8.5 million subs. They have new videos from the podcast as well as clips from Conan, the TV show. Under an existing deal with HBO Max, Mr. O'Brien is developing a new TV show. Whatever, okay. The serious deal centers on a podcast that Mr. O'Brien was reluctant to even start while he was on TV. Okay, so anyway, we're done. That's it. Conan's 59. Ooh, boy. And more podcast news comes from J. Clara Chant. I know her. I've read her a lot of her stories. It's not a joke. On Billboard. WTF with Mark Maron podcast inks multi-year deal with Acast. Again, podcasts used to be for, especially Maron's, they used to be these independent things, put out 2 episodes a week, and now it's just 2 episodes a week with the biggest stars. He has a 3-year deal with Acast to host, monetize, and distribute the comedian's podcast with Maron. Acast is obviously a distributor. So basically, essentially, they're going to take his audio feed and switch it over to their player. As part of the deal, which begins July 1st, WTF will also offer bonus content, merchandise, and live event offerings via Acast Plus. A lot like Wondery Plus, a lot like the other what was the L one? Luminary. And yet, I'm horrible at math. I hold this stuff in the back of my head, and yet I'm horrible at math. Okay. Sorry, I just got a text about the Phoebe Bridgers concert. The person I'm going with, and we're making plans, baby. It's gonna be great. The tickets were $25, and it was a last-minute decision. I was like, should I go to this? I'm like, I should go to this. Even though I saw Dave Matthews Band last Saturday. That's right, I saw DMB last Saturday. Got a text at 6 p.m. The show was at 7:30. I scrambled to find a ticket, and found 2. Guy would not sell me 1. I said, all right. He goes, yeah, man. See if you can find yourself a hot girl there, or y'all have fun. And I was like, dude, it's Dave Matthews Band. I'm not gonna find it. First of all, find some hot girl. Let's just find some hot girl and get in that Dave Matthews Band, brother. I don't know what that character was. But I went, and I'm like, and so the people I was going with, they had already gotten their tickets, and one of them had gotten his for free, and he's like, hey man, I'll go halvesies on you. Like, he said halvesies. He's an adult man. I'll buy half your ticket if you come because he essentially didn't want to be. It was like a group of friends, and then two people I knew, and then one of those people knew the group of friends, and then the guy was like, "Come on, man." And so I was like, "All right, so I come." He didn't have to cajole me. I was gonna go regardless. And so I get these 2 tickets. The guy sends it to me via Ticketmaster or whatever, or SeatGeek or no StubHub. It doesn't matter. So I get there, and I get first of all, I mean, I'm on the other side of the it's an outdoor stadium south of the city, Lakewood Amphitheater, I believe, and it's not even not a stadium. It's just an outdoor music place. And I know first of all, I had to park, and every place obviously was charging out the butt, and I already spent $60 on these tickets. I'm like, I don't want to pay that much. So I keep going deeper and deeper, keep going further and further south, streets, blocks and blocks away. And I find this woman who has a lot on like a house, and it looks like a 1-bedroom house. And it says $10, and I go, oh, and I pull in, and I go, hey, what are the chances you give it to me for $5? And she would not budge. And she's like, I'm doing you a favor because you're early to the show. It's like 6:30. Like, because you're early to the show, I'm only charging you $10. I'm like, all right, first of all, I don't know you. So anyway, I park and then I walk. It's like a 20 some odd minute walk. I get there and I'm on the other side of the stadium where the main entrance is, and there's like a back entrance, which is it's like the guys. It's like shaped like a horseshoe, so it's on the other side. So I get there. And I am looking for the people, and I go, hey, where you guys? And he goes, oh, dude, we're at C, and I'm at A and B. And I go, oh, how do you get to C? And so I'm still on the phone. I walk up to this lady who's like directing cars. I go, how do you get to C? And she goes, oh, well, those guys can tell you. And she points me to like staff. Like, they're not security, but they're staff, and just making sure everything goes. And they're sitting in a golf cart. And I walk up to these guys. I go, hey, how do you get to C gate? And they go, oh man, that's on the other side. And I'm like, I go, oh, it's on the other side? All right, well, how long do you think it'll take me to get there? He goes, well, it's a long walk. And I go, oh, I mean, all right, it's fine. And my friend's on the phone like, dude, we're about to go in. You have to do it. I'm like, I'm not waiting in line. And these guys, without like just in the quickest way, we'll drive you. I go, and like in their golf cart, I go, oh, really? And my friend's like, oh no, dude, it'll be fine. I'm like, oh, okay. I go, I'll see you later. I hang up on him, and then I hop on the golf cart, and they drive me for like, it's like a 2-minute drive, and they were not kidding. That if I had walked that, it would have been maybe another 20 some odd minutes or so, or I could wait in the line, and it would take me 30 minutes to get in. And I get to the other side. And on the one side where I was, people were tailgating and parking and stuff. On the other side, people were tailgating and parking, but there were not that many people. So I get off. I thank the gentleman. Walk towards the gate. The lines weren't even long. They were not even long. The lines were so short. I could have run in and out 4 different times. And so I had the tickets, and they're digital, and I go, all right, well, I'm here. They're probably inside. I'm just gonna try to sell these tickets to sell a ticket to somebody, and turns out the guys were not inside. I meet everybody, and then my friend he goes, hey, you want me to help you sell that ticket? I go, yes. So we send everybody inside. He and I start walking down the aisle, and we go, need a ticket? You ticket? Walking between cars, you ticket? People are going, no. And then he goes, should I hold up my paper ticket to see if somebody, so we can signal that we have a ticket without, selling illegally? And I go, yeah, I mean, it couldn't hurt. He holds up his ticket for literally 2 seconds, and then 2 guys go, oh, dude, start pointing. yeah, we need a ticket. And they run up, and we're chatting, and I go, yeah, I'm the one with the ticket. And he's like, okay, great. Our friends looking for a ticket, and they're on the phone. They're on the phone with their friend. Like, dude, we got you a ticket. Right? Everybody's from Brooklyn. We got you a ticket, dude. And I go, all right. I'm like, well, no. They go, how much are you charging? And I go, I don't know, because I just bought it for $60, so I'm going like, I don't know. 30. And he goes, oh man, he would have paid you anything under 50. I go, tell him 40. their friends out there, and he goes, hey man, it's $40. These guys are on my side. I am happy. So they have one of the guys there Venmos me the money. I send them the ticket, and we're like dapping each other up, high five. We're like, yeah, all right, man, this is great. This is awesome. All right, all right. And then we all go inside, and so I've made 40, but I've spent 60. I've made 40. No, I spent 70. I made 40 back, so I spent 30. And I'm glad, get inside, and then it's now dinner time. I have not eaten dinner. I was too busy rushing over to this thing. I don't eat fast food, so I wasn't going to stop at a McDonald's or anything. So then I spend the money I just got. I spend, I think, like $25 on pretzel, a big pretzel, a hot dog, and fries. And then I snuck in I snuck because there was a lawn, so I could bring a blanket. So I have this camping blanket that I bought during the pandemic, so I can go out to the park and sit and read and stuff. And I just bought Topo Chico. I think you can see the box if you're watching the video. I just bought Topo Chico seltzer with a $3 rebate from Target. So instead of $15, it was $12. And so I snuck in 4 of those. I snuck in 2 of those, and I snuck in 2 beers. So I snuck in 4 drinks. And that's how I saw DMB, and it was great. No one sat down the entire time, so we're all standing desperately. But it's fun. It was a good time. I'm glad I saw DMB in concert. I knew, I would say 3 to 4 songs, maybe even 5. I think they're like Satellite, Ants Marching. I know the hits, and they ended with Ants Marching, and they did a fake out. There's gonna be this one song, and then all of a sudden you hear doot, 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 and everyone's like, oh yeah. And everybody started dancing, I mean, the entire time you just saw like older white people dancing, just horribly. It was great. It was a fun time. I'm glad I saw DMB. I hope Phoebe Bridgers tonight will be excellent. I really hope she is. I feel as I like Phoebe Bridgers. I like her music. Her personality is grating, and I will say it to her face. But you know what? What a great talent she is. What a great rock artist. I wanted to see Haim. They didn't come to Atlanta. They went to Alpharetta, and it was on a Wednesday night, and I was not going to drive to Alpharetta on a Wednesday night, and the show starts at 7 o'clock. I'd have to leave at 4 just to get there at 5 or so. Anyway, let's get back to this podcast story. Hey, look, that's all I got. Marc Maron, so it's a 3-year deal with Acast. I don't know if they have the specifics, but new episodes of this for the money. New episodes of this show will continue to be released twice a week and will be available for free across all podcast platforms. Again, I think people see what, and I hate to bring them up, I think people see what Joe Rogan, or Dax Shepard's show have done on Spotify, and I mean, yeah, you can be on a platform that's built for audio, but when you pigeonhole, when you put yourself into that position of you can only listen to our show that was previously free everywhere on this platform, you're going to lose a lot of subscribers. And Mark doesn't do video, so I get to know him personally. Advertisers will be able to place dynamic ads for or use Acast's in-house team for premium spots that will appear in Maron's show, in addition to other podcasts in Acast network. I'm not a fan of the dynamic ads. I think Never Not Funny does it, and actually no, I'm positive they do it, because sometimes I hear like this is Atlanta, like, hey, you Atlanta listeners get 10% off. So yeah, there we go. It's good, and I'm glad Mark's going to be able to. I'm glad he's not falling over. I'm glad he's doing well with this show. I'm glad it's done this for him. He brings in about 55 million listeners per year, and that's just for when he interviews the president. Can you imagine if one podcast got 55 million listeners? Jesus. Did I say users earlier? Doesn't matter. Who cares? The Acast deal is still going to let him be, the show that he wants to be, but now just on a bigger deal. Anna Faris moved her podcast Unqualified over to Acast in February. Unqualified is a show I stopped listening to. All right. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the upfronts for, 10 minutes or so. This episode's going long. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Leslie Goldberg. Why broadcast networks took a back seat at the upfronts. With media giants emphasizing streaming and overall series orders plummeting, networks are no longer the stars of the annual event. So the upfronts, television upfronts, are, and I've done an episode of News Time on this, and so now this topic has officially moved over the constitutionalist territory. Upfronts are when basically networks and streamers, they go, I'll just say networks go over to not Wall Street. They go over to advertisers. They do all these big presentations, and they say, here's what we have to offer in the coming year or years for the next television season, and this is why you should buy ad space with us. That's the dumbest way I could possibly say it. So, for instance, Warner Media, the company I work for, Warner Bros. Discovery. David Zaslav could go. You know, Shaq. I was watching. I'll get back to the upfront in a second. I was watching this. I fell asleep during the Mavericks Golden State Warriors game last night, and I have YouTube TV, so I recorded the rest, obviously. And so this morning, I get home from the gym, my 3-hour session, 3 hours 4 minutes. I get home from the gym. While I'm stretching, I watched like the last 20 minutes of the game, and then saw the Mavericks lost, and then I started watching Inside the NBA, and they were and Shaq. All this to say is that Shaq mentioned Zaslav, and I was like, hey, we're coworkers, Shaq. We work in the same building. Literally, we work in the same building. It's great. Anyway, so a person like David Zaslav will, host an upfront presentation alongside stars of HBO and Cartoon and whatever, and they'll say like, we've got the Westworld coming out, and you should help us advertise it, things like that. Or like Jimmy Kimmel hosted the ABC upfronts. It's an exclusive show for advertisers, and it's fun, and basically it's like E3. E3 for TV shows, essentially, more or less. So this is the first in-person presentations since COVID-19 started. When the first presentations during that first year of the pandemic in 2020. It was again May 2020 or June, May 2020, because that was happening in May. I remember the company I used to work for, the satellite networks. They even did an upfront presentation, and they were tiny, and they sent it to everybody because it was digital. They couldn't do it in person, so they sent it to everybody. No. I'm sorry, excuse me. We watched it during a company-wide meeting when I was one of 5 people going in for a company of like 200 some odd people. And they still let me go, and I hate their guts to this day. But they made us watch part of it, and then I think you could watch the full thing, but anyway, whatever. And I remember watching it and going, it was high quality. They had a lot of stuff, but I think Kerry Washington. I'm just now remember this. Kerry Washington was in the presentation shooting something in her backyard on her phone, but it wasn't horizontal. It was vertical. It was vertical video. Yeah, and I remember thinking she couldn't put any more effort into this. But it was the beginning of the pandemic, and we didn't know things. But even still, I was listening to the New York Times podcast. I listened to a lot of stuff, and I watched PBS NewsHour, and people still don't have microphones or cameras that are suitable enough for. We're gonna be doing this forever now. Like if you can't be in person, they're gonna get you on video, and you gotta have a mic or a camera. It's ridiculous. ABC, Fox, and NBC still have series orders for next season in the works and casting to do for others that have already been greenlit. What we'll notice is that the CW canceled a bunch of shows. CBS did not bring in a lot of comedies. Same thing for NBC and ABC. I don't remember about Fox. But collectively, all of the networks, the 4 broadcasters alongside the CW, averaged 77.4 pilot orders a year over the past decade. This season, however, the 5 combined were picked up 35, which is not a lot, with a tally representing a 10-year low. You want to be able to have Nova's hungry. She is now currently rubbing my leg. You want to be, and she's rubbing her face on the desk. You want to be able to tell advertisers you're confident in what you have coming up. But I think this is going to be the first year, especially with Netflix missing subscriber counts, that because that happened slightly before the upfronts. I think this is going to be the first year in which we get the what is his name? John Landgraf for FX has always, like, for the past couple of years, has been touting that we are in a golden era of, like, we're at peak television. We have 900 new shows, 1,000 new shows, all such this and that. But I think this is going to be the first year where things have been dipping, and mostly because they're going to say, for broadcasters, first they're going to say it's unsustainable. Like, well, I mean, no, for Netflix, it's unsustainable. You can't, but you got to stop. You have 30 minutes. For Netflix, it's unsustainable. You can't just buy a ton of shows left and right and not expect, and then go, well, this one doesn't work, then we'll just toss it out, and this one's going to work, and it's going to make up for that. And it's not. What Stranger Things season 4 does is not going to be the same thing what Boss Baby, Back in the Crib, or whatever the heck that show is called, does. They're two different things, and you can't expect them to be working. Although that's not fair, because I think NBC Universal pays for Boss Baby TV show. Anyway, Fox, ABC, NBC still have multiple shows in consideration, so they got that going for them. Under the financial anvil of the past 2 years in which the pandemic accelerated the shift to streaming at most media companies, broadcast networks have seen their spending budgets slashed and those resources transferred to a wave of newly launched platforms. So, again, Peacock launches, we see a show like Killing It. We see Girls 5 Eva. We've got Paramount Plus, which brings in the brands of Paramount, and so now we've got the Daily Show streaming at a regular place, as well as new Star Trek shows. So it's things are different from the past couple of years. And you're not ever going to get a show like Goldberg is using Modern Family, and like we're never going to get I'm not saying that we're never going to get another show like Modern Family, but Modern Family and This Is Us and those shows were anomalies in their time, especially Modern Family. But now you can have, if you put enough effort and care behind the people making shows, you can get a show like Abbott Elementary that just takes off. So that's what ABC is looking for. Something they apparently they have a healthy slate of off-cycle development, says Craig Erwich, the boss of ABC and Hulu. I got a Phoebe Bridgers ticket notification. Yeah, I know it's coming. I'm excited. They've got Night Court. NBC's coming up with Night Court. They've got Lopez versus Lopez, which is a George Lopez sitcom, another one of those. I think it might be his third one. Quantum Leap. So they've got shows coming up. Well, I mean, broadcast is it's a strange. I don't know how they do it, because they, in recent years, like let's say from 2018 on, they want to treat it like, let's say 2019 on, they want to treat it like streaming. And prior to that, 2018 and to the first time House of Cards premiered, they had the pick of the litter. The only people they had to fight with was basic cable, and it's going to be tough for them to make ground up. But then that's where hey, let's take. That's what NBC Universal is doing with Peacock. They say, hey, Law and Order SVU, well, you can only watch that on Peacock, and then also you can watch Girls 5 Eva. I don't know why I love that show. I'm gonna be famous forever. Such a good show. But continuing off of that, this comes from Variety. Written by Jennifer Moss, Michael Schneider, Joe Otterson, Todd Spangler, and Brian Steinberg. The best and the worst of the and weirdest of moments of Upfront Week 2022. I just finished Young Rock. I see a picture of The Rock here. I just finished Young Rock, this second season. Or third season? Second season. It's going to third. So good. It's a very funny show. And then I did some research. Never mind, I'm not going to say that. It's a good show. I love the show. It's a very good show. There's some stuff that they are taking out of it, to keep it as a family sitcom, but it's a great show. It's a wonderful show. So again, there's not a lot of news shows. Fox did not even have a schedule to put out, but we do have a bunch of fall slots for CBS, ABC, and NBC. you'll notice that a lot of it is remakes, or they'll do family slots for Dick Wolf shows. So there's slots there's a night for Chicago, there's a night for Law and Order, there's a night for FBI, and that's across 2 different networks, which is like he has. So there, I think Tuesday night on CBS is FBI, Wednesday night is Chicago Wednesday on NBC, and then Thursday night is Law and Order Thursday, which is great. I like that, but because I like Law and Order. But man, that man owns a huge market share. He's like the opposite of Chuck Lorre. He makes good shows. I've never seen an episode of Chicago. I think I've put it on in the background. I watched one episode of FBI's Most Wanted, FBI International, because there was a crossover, and I'm a sucker for crossovers. I am a huge sucker for crossovers. So there's not a lot of new shows. There's a lot of Marvel stuff coming. So we've got the She-Hulk Attorney at Law show, Secret Invasion, Echo, second season of Loki. Jesus, oh my God, there's so much. There's so much. I'm not going to talk about that. Multiverse stuff. There's a very sexual thing, and then you can just read it yourself. Yeah, because this is a family show. There's a bunch of multiverse stuff, which includes 60 minutes. Oprah talked about, was that Warner Brothers? Was that Warner Bros. Discovery? And Jimmy Kimmel was at ABC. So there you go. A lot of people doing in-character stuff. Supernatural was heavily relied on for the CW. They had relied on for stars, Hollywood stars, for Paramount's Sylvester Stallone show. I forgot what it's called. Tulsa King. That's going to be in Oklahoma, obviously. They had music performances by Kelly Clarkson, who did stuff for NBCU, Miley Cyrus, NBCU, Trace Adkins for Fox, Mickey Guyton and Leanne Rimes for Paramount, Jennifer Hudson for Warner Bros. Discovery, Lizzo and John Baptiste for YouTube. YouTube was there? Oh my God. Well, that makes sense. YouTube does sell ads. New bosses were introduced, like David Zaslav. Sports took a huge step. We've got XFL having a new deal, which I'll talk about with in an episode of News Time. With Disney, USFL recently had a pretty good season with ads and stuff and partnership. Inside the NBA, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that the upfront this year was a lot of streaming priority, obviously. There we go. And then here's from Deadline, written by Nelly Andriva. I just got the hitters today. Again, I'm cool. I say words like hitters. We've got spinoffs galore, like the Rookie. We've got an LA Law sequel. We've got it's just so much coming. This you can read about the best and the worst. There's a Walker origin story, and Gotham Knights, which I assume is a Walker was already a show on the CW, and now they have a spinoff. I think Walker might have been canceled, though I'm not entirely sure. And then Gotham Knights, they cancel a couple of DC shows, and now they're bringing in this one. Then a Supernatural prequel with the Winchesters. So you can see everything that is going on over at the upfronts. Yeah, it's a lot. And, broadcasting has to catch up to streaming somehow. I don't exactly know if this is going to be a lucrative position for them, but for the broadcasters at least. But this just shows that streaming is fallible itself. So there's got to be some type of I was listening to Kara Swisher's Sway podcast, and I'm going to get the exact episode because it was a very interesting. I already have one downloaded, so I'll just go there. It was a very interesting. It was the CEO of Condé Nast. Let's see what his name is. What is the CEO's name? Roger Lynch. And yes, he was talking about Condé Nast, but Condé Nast, it is a magazine publisher. Everything's turning into digital. But they are seeing a record growth, not a record. They're seeing a growth in the physical subscription as well, which makes sense. I mean, if I subscribe to The Atlantic, which I don't, but if I did, I just don't. It's too many subscriptions. I'm paying well over too much money for my subscriptions. But if I subscribe to The Atlantic, I'm gonna want to get a physical version of the magazine, mostly because I put it on the coffee table and be like, hey, I read The Atlantic, baby. Never recycle those. Never. Like I've got a couple just sitting in the bookcase right now. So but the crux of it is like towards the end they were talking about how the subscription model is not as sustainable as it is, and pretty much everything's going to become a bundle again at some point. That's why Disney's got this bundle, and I can only surmise in maybe a month we'll see Discovery be bundled with HBO Max prior to Discovery stuff hitting HBO Max. But I don't know why they would do that. Just bring Discovery stuff over to HBO Max. Just sunset Discovery Plus by the end of the summer. That would be my thing. Bring CNN stuff over to HBO Max. You got the numbers, and don't change the price. Please don't change the price. And do you think? I mean, Disney Plus rose in price, and Netflix raises in price every couple of years, and I can see Apple TV Plus raising in price itself. And also this guy Lynch, he said just because Apple won an Oscar with Coda doesn't mean that they won the Oscar with Coda, and those are my words. But they don't own that movie. They just gave the people the money to make that movie. Like they don't actually own it. They didn't create it in house, and it's not really theirs. Which I like it. It makes sense. Yeah, it's. I can have a show on Netflix, and as long as we work out the right numbers, then that show can go into syndication on Comedy Central, or if they cancel it, I can take it over to another streaming platform. Hopefully, we'll see. It doesn't work for everybody like that, but anyway, so yeah, that was the idea, was that the bundle is going to come back, and he's not wrong. The bundle will come back, and people are going to be mad, and it's going to be a seesaw effect. We're always going to see bundling and unbundling all the time. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where we've got interviews coming up. There is an interview that I have been trying to set up, and it's going to I do sound frustrated, because I am frustrated. That I've been trying to set up for the better half of a month, which is to say about 2 or 3 weeks now at this point. And I think this is the third week. I think so. We're going into a month now of this, and so I've been trying to set this up, and then I've been offered 2 more interviews. So we're trying to set up 3 at the same time, which is ridiculous. Let me take the top one, and then we can work our way down. So hopefully getting them more interviews with comedians that I know and like. Let's see. I'm also so proud that I subscribe to a couple of New York Times and Wall Street Journal and Atlantic newsletters and things of that nature. And it took me forever to. First, you have to do this only. You can only do this only on the computer. You can't do it on whatever app that you have Gmail in, or whatever device you have Gmail in. It has to be a computer. But I moved all my newsletters to a newsletter section in my Gmail, and I'm so every time I get an email, I see newsletter, I go, that's great, I can read that later, because they were getting lost before. Anyway, Instagram, Twitter, if you want to see a video version of this show, that's C+ Comedy. Go to youtube.com/C+ Comedy. You can see me do all the stuff I did for video earlier today. Like you can see the video cut out 5 minutes into the episode, which was not good. But this battery that I put in there, I knew it was not charged up, and it's definitely working. As well as you can find on youtube.com/C+ Comedy our premiere show News Time. I have 3 more that are literally uploaded to the YouTube channel that I have yet to write descriptions and titles for, but they will be coming soon. And I'll be back on schedule. 400 is coming up in a couple of weeks. Can't wait for that. And I think it falls in a week where there's no news, so I have to really plan for that. And what else is going on? Twitter, Instagram @C+ Comedy. Me on Twitter, Instagram @Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Listen to the Constitutionals pod. Rate, review, subscribe. I'm doing the listen thing. Rate, review, subscribe to the show where we get and tell your friends about it. Thank you for listening. You're the best. I love you, and goodbye.